drafting, I guess, I don't know, rules that basically say if you work for the county in education, that you will be limited to what you can say outside of school grounds, the campus, the classroom, your colleagues. Basically, the way it's worded is if you're a Trump voter or you like Trump or you're a Republican, you can basically get fired based on the language that they've put in this thing. Like you can't say anything on social media or your friends that is not exactly what they think should be appropriate, which is denouncing white supremacy, recognizing systemic racism, understanding that gender, I guess, gender, whatever people call themselves, whatever it is that's in there. What the hell is that?
Well, John, you're correct. And that's after spending $455,000, as I understand, on a critical race theory curriculum. I was involved with the Board of Supervisors last year setting their budget, and I recall no discussion of any kind of curriculum like this when we set that budget. And now they're trying to put in place this policy that they're supposed to vote on October 12th, which will severely restrict what teachers can say about any of this curriculum. And it's interesting that the LEA, the Loudoun Education Association, has come out against this policy and is saying that it is overly restrictive on their members, and they're, trying to see about getting it changed.
I mean, what was their objective in managing speech of employees after they leave? I don't understand this. Like, if I'm a teacher in the 7th grade, and let's say I coach basketball or I'm a gym teacher, I'm at a party and I've got a Trump sticker on, or I'm a Republican, or I'm saying that I prefer not to have socialism, I don't like Black Lives Matter, I can get fired? Somebody can report me and I can get fired if that doesn't fit their view of the world. What am I missing here, Gary?
You're not missing anything. That's the way I read it, and they have encouraged their peers from the policy, the draft policy, to turn people in if they are critical of this curriculum that they're teaching. I mean, I don't see how anybody that has the least little bit of legal knowledge would not see that this runs afoul of the First Amendment. And, it's one thing to teach a curriculum. It's something else to be forced to agree with every word of it. I thought education was supposed to be about exploring different ideas and measuring those ideas and weighing them in the balance on their merits, and not shutting down any kind of speech or talk that might be different than what one person thinks. Somebody else can't think something different, and at the cost of their potentially the cost of their jobs. It's pretty outrageous.
What is their goal here? What do they want to do? And did they think that did the supervisors there, did the school superintendent, did he think they could just slide this thing through? What is their objective?
Well, John, when we were on the board when I was on the board last year, they put together, and it may have been a year prior to that, the school board put together some committee they called an equity committee or something like that, and it was supposed to look at any potentially inappropriate or racist issues in the school system. Innocuous enough. Well, in my 8 years on the Board of Supervisors, I am aware of no racial incidents in Loudoun County Public Schools, or when I was on the school board, for that matter, that rose to the level of being sent to the Board of Supervisors for examination or funding or anything like that. Now, right at the end of last year, or middle of last year, this equity commission came up with a report that seemed to find all kinds of racial disparities in the Loudoun County Public Schools, of which none had ever been reported previously. And so I have a feeling that based on the findings of this committee, that they then launched forward with this curriculum unbeknownst to the Board of Supervisors, and elections have consequences. We had conservative majorities on the board and the school board last year. Both of them are gone, and you sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. So now we have teachers in one of the largest school systems in the country that will not have freedom of speech if they don't agree with some portion of a curriculum that the school system is teaching.
I mean, it's just it's an incredible manifesto that we're now at a point in a county that if you're a school employee, they are now going to manage your political expression outside of work. I mean, it's like you're living in communist China, where you have a social rating. I mean, are they going to hire social media combers to go through your Facebook post, or go through your tweets, or go through your emails, or go through? Are we going to have snitches where if you're at a neighborhood function and you say the wrong thing, and they know that you're a school board employee, whether you're a teacher, janitor, or anything else, they're going to snitch and have a rat line? I mean, is that where we're going with this?
Absolutely, and it's crazy, John. You look at what's happened to Virginia since last year's elections. I just got an email forwarded to me from a friend that the health department in Loudoun County is hiring, I don't know what you want to call them, observers at $42 an hour, which is more than some of our teachers start at, $42 an hour to go out and check on businesses and other places of public gatherings to make sure that people are wearing masks, the governor's mask mandate. So we're going to pay people $42 an hour to go out and rat out their neighbors that they may not be wearing a mask. And oh, by the way, the governor's order has exemptions to the mask rule anyway if you have any kind of medical conditions, but that isn't going to matter to these folks. And this is where Virginia's headed.
What can you do, Gary, to stop this?
Well, what we're doing is we're trying to make everybody aware of it. I don't think a lot of the people in Loudoun, I don't know how many people I've had come to me since last fall's election say, oh my gosh, I can't believe what's going on. I didn't realize. People need to wake up to what the left is really all about and where they're heading in this country. And I'm telling you, between the shutdowns that's destroying our economies and the schools that are shut down where kids can't go back to school, and now we got teachers that are not able to voice an opinion that may be different or in addition to the curriculum. I don't know. This is not the Virginia that I've lived in for the last 40 years.
Unbelievable. It's I read this thing. We did a piece on it at the start. I know you were one of the contributors to that, and thank you for doing that, Gary. But just reading that, I mean, and the thing is, it's not going to stop in Loudoun County. I mean, as soon as they pass it, it's going to go to Fairfax, Arlington. I mean, it's going to be Richmond. I mean, it basically is a manifesto that the people have to understand this. The school superintendents of Loudoun County are drafting a manifesto that says if politically, outside of the classroom, outside of their jobs, whether it be in the library, in the cafeteria, or a janitor, or a school teacher, or a coach, outside of work, if you are deemed to say or think in a way that is inconsistent with a school's view of the world, you can get punished up to including being fired, which then means that people will rat you out at a party. I mean, this is unbelievable. It's just like I thought when I read that, I thought I was reading The Onion or Charlie Hebdo in France or the Babylon Bee. I mean, I thought it was a complete and utter April Fool's joke, but that's what's going on in Loudoun County, and it isn't going to stop there. I mean, this thing is out of control. We got governors locking down states, putting people out of business. Everybody just stands around. Now everybody in Loudoun County, I'm sure they're going to do a poll And they're going to find out that 55% of the parents think it's a good idea, just like they thought it was a good idea not to have school. I mean, it doesn't matter what poll they do. It's a good idea to lock everything down. It's a good idea to shut our businesses down. It's a good idea to do whatever so that we can all be one big happy group. I don't know where this is going, but it's scary, man. It's frightening where this country is headed. And the people that would even do this, and then like sheep, we just fall in line like, okay, well, you must know better than us. How is that America?
It's not the America I grew up in. And the other thing that's unfortunate is the media, other than people like yourselves, are not reporting the collateral damage that's caused by these issues, such as, I understand we could lose as many as 50% of our small businesses in Loudoun County over this shutdown, and those small businesses employ thousands of people. What's the situation in our homes with kids and child abuse? It's the schools that normally are the ones that pick up child abuse, and with kids not in school, that can't be happening. Then you have alcohol abuse problems, spousal abuse problems, mental health issues. All these things go unreported because they don't fit the narrative of what these people are doing, and it makes no sense whatever. I can tell you that I think they will rue the day that they've done this, because they finally forced a lot of parents to go looking for alternatives, and you don't have the luxury living in Northern Virginia to be, in most cases, with one income. Most families have two incomes. Well, how do you have two people working and then try to teach your kids as well? There's a lot of people that are looking at alternatives, and I think that once they get comfortable alternatives, they're not necessarily going to go back to the public schools, or they're going to look to the public schools to lower their taxes. What are they paying all these taxes for right now? The schools aren't open, the schools aren't heated, the buses aren't running, they're not serving lunches, the teachers aren't in the classrooms in most cases. And how does $13,000 or $14,000 per student? How do you support that with a system that's shut down and not being utilized? And then another irony, where I live out in western Loudoun County, where we have limited broadband, so it's hard for kids to get access to the lessons they're supposed to learn, they were encouraging them to go sit in the high school parking lots and use the Wi-Fi off of the schools. And then they decided, well, maybe we'll open the gyms up in some of those schools, and they can come in and have a Wi-Fi cafe. Well, for crying out loud, if they can open the schools up for a Wi-Fi cafe, they can open them up for kids to come to school and learn. This is ridiculous.
I don't know what the answer is, Gary, but, when I heard Governor Cuomo yesterday say, well, I'll just shut churches down. I'll just shut them down, and that'll be the end of it. And everybody stands around and says, well, then we better do what he says. It's like, what country am I in, right? De Blasio yesterday says, I'm going to shut down these 13 neighborhoods, and that'll put another, couple thousand businesses under. They're all voting for Republicans anyway. Screw them. And everybody says, okay, well, you're going to keep me safe, even though 99.7% of people that get the coronavirus recover. But that doesn't matter. Numbers don't matter. Science doesn't matter. School kids that don't get sick don't matter. Nothing matters except power to these people. And they're going to continue to tell us what to do and beat us into submission until somebody finally stands up and says they had enough. If I was in Loudoun County now, I would be beside myself. I would be like, I either got to change it, I got to get people to run for school board and overturn it, or I got to get out of here. I'm just not going to stay here. But where do you go, right? I don't know what happened to us as a country, but 5 years ago, this would have never happened. The people would have been generally outraged, and they'd have voted them all out. The next cycle, every one of them would have been gone. Now they're all going to get reelected by bigger margins. Yeah, you guys did a good job in making sure that people can't talk at a party. Good job, I guess. All right, man. Gary Higgins, I don't know what to say. Thank you for being with us, though. Thank you.
My
John Fredericks
pleasure.
Radio
Thank you for
Network.
having me on, John.